Welcome to the Minesweeper project on bbteacher.com. We just finished the routines to show the mines on the screen and to randomly arrange them and to count the cells, the number of neighboring mines for the rest of the cells. With those two jobs done, our next job is to create an event handler that will take care of what happens when we click one of the mine cells. Before we start that, let's go ahead and turn off our debugging lines, the lines that we had put in just to see where they were, where the mines were, and if the numbers were correct, and those worked out just fine. The next thing we need to do is to write an event handler and connect it up to each of the cells in the mine field. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our toolbox and select a single mine cell and put it in our panel, and then we're going to look at the events for it. Inside here we have the mine cell 1, which is the one we just pasted on there, and we'll go to the mouse click. There it is. Now the mouse click contains the correct signature for a click event on the mine cell, and that's where the kind of thing we need to have for our event handler that we can connect up to all of the other mine cells. Now this is only for the one we put on there. We're actually going to take that off now. Once we take it off, then this event handler will not be handling anything. Notice the handles event is now gone. And we're going to shorten up the name here, and we'll just call this mine click. And so mine click is the name of the event handler that we're going to connect everything up to. Now the place where we connect this up is a place where we create the mine cells, and that's this loop that we use at the beginning of the build board routine. Right after we organize our mine cells in the array, and then we will add a handler using the add handler routine. And then we have to tell it what we want to use for that, and that's this c.mouse click. That's the event that we are going to handle, and then we use address of mine click. What this will do then is every time this button gets clicked with the mouse, it will jump to mine click, and that will be the place that will handle the events. So now what we need to work on is the mine click event handler. And the first thing we can do is every time that we click a mine, the sender is actually the mine that has been clicked, and so we'll dim m as mine cell equals sender, and now we can just use m, which will know that it's a mine cell. Otherwise we don't know what, sender does not know what type it is. The program doesn't know that. Next, we need to distinguish between the right button and the left button. If e.button is equal to the left button, then we'll do one thing. Else, if e.button equals mouse click right button, we'll do something else. So we'll have two options in here. The left button and the right button. The right button is used to mark cells and to mark them as either a flag, a question mark, or or back to the original unmarked button. The left button is used to test a cell to see if it is has a mine behind it, or whether it's got a number or nothing behind it. And so those are the routines we'll need to write now. Alright, the very first thing we can do is we can go in and mess around a little bit with the right click. And so let's look at that. What we want to look for is we're going to put in a select case based on the mine that we have just clicked on, the mine cell that we've just clicked on in its current view. And we'll have three cases we can deal with. Whichever one it is, we'll change it to the next one. So if the view for the current mouse button is if the current view is a button, then we do one thing. If the case is a flag, we'll do something else. And if the case is anything else, we'll do the third thing. So we'll do one of these three choices. Now clearly, if we have a button there and we right click on it, we want to show a flag. So we'll have m.view equals flag, and we can come back later on and do some house cleaning there to keep track. That's kind of part of where we keep score. The next one is if it is in the form of a flag, then we want to go to a question mark. So m.view equals question mark. And the last one is if it's a question mark, we're going to want to go back to a button. So mView equals button. Now hopefully this first routine will work, and so let's run it and see what happens. And let's see if we can go in and right click and we get a flag, and right click again and we get a question mark, and right click a third time and it's back to clear. So that works for all of the buttons that we have down there. Any button we can now mark as one of our little markers, whichever we prefer. Okay, so that worked okay. The next thing we want to do is test for a number, and if we hit a number we can show that number, or if we hit a mine we can show the mine. So if we click with the left button and select case, and well, let's see, we better do it this way. If m dot has mine, then we lose the game right there. So we have to do a routine here that will end the game right there. And what that will do is we will show all the mines. So for some number, c as integer equals 0 to board rows minus 1. For let's do through the rows too. For r as integer equals 0 to board rows minus 1, and this one's columns minus 1, and then down here next. And what we'll look for every cell that's there is if x, or if the let's get the cell at that location. So dim the current cell, current CC as minefield, as mine cell, equals the current minefield column row. And then we'll have to, if that current cell has mine, then what we want to do is show that mine. So cc dot view equals mine, and that will show the mine. We might need to refresh that, so let's put that in there. Okay, so now anytime we hit a mine, it's going to show all the mines. We better test that. Okay, I hit a mine finally on about the 10th click, and notice that all the mines showed up. Let's try it again. Second click I got it that time, so this routine that shows all the mines indeed works. Okay. Next, if it has a number behind it, if m number is greater than 0, then we want to show the number. There we go, finally. And We'll check it if we do this. We could be finishing the game up, but we'll worry about that later. For now, let's leave it right there. So we'll save our work and see if that works correctly. We're looking for any number to show up now. That 1 showed up. Now I hit a mine. If I have nothing show up, then it's a blank cell, and we're going to deal with that routine later. Has nothing behind it. Okay, so we're getting those two routines working okay. Well, I think we'll break here. We've been going quite a while on this session, and we'll come back, and the one we have to write next is the one that looks for the blank cells, and then it clears all the adjacent blank cells, which really speeds the game up, and that's kind of one of the key routines. So we'll stop here, and thanks for programming along with us.